I'm just going to try to present my screen. Actually, it's in mode. I don't know if we
Nice
see. Oh,
tiger.
you see the eye of the tiger.
Yeah.
Now you must see. Okay, inventory counting and posting with myself. Uh, First of all, welcome everybody. Uh, we're gonna be going through the procedure, which is quite simple actually for the inventory counting. And I'll start showing you the method or the method we can use for the inventory counting process. But in the first step, I'm going to go back and show you what when we said the best practice. One of the best practice we try to implement in the customer procedure is to just control your GL account with your inventory GL account. If you go out of balance with your GL account, what's shown in your control account of inventory GL account, and what's the inventory control and what the inventory list of value show you, you automatically could be in trouble. And usually an inventory, an accounts payable, and accounts receivable are what we call are usually what we call subsidiary. So you have subsidiary, and these subsidiary should just this subsidiary just should be the only one that write into your NGL and control account, which are accounts receivable, accounts payable, and obviously inventory control account. So if we talk about inventory counting, there's many ways SAP offers you to use your inventory counting. So you can use single counter. So single counter mean I'm making a list. I'm giving the list to a single user, and this user is going to go into the warehouse and just count with the list. So we just count the inventory. It will come back. I'm going to key in what he really counted, and this is going to be a single counter. We can go multiple counters with, well, and there's three ways to use a multiple counters. So individual counting, so I might have two or maybe three if I have enough people, which is pretty rare those days. But I can have two or three people counting the same inventory. So I mean, and I'm going to take if Gilles is counting 200 pieces, Robert is counting 205, and the other people is counting 206. I might have to make a recounting because there's some discrepancy. So the three person are counting the same thing just to make a double control, a double check of what's the real value I have for each item. Well, it's really time consuming. I agree with you. We don't have enough people usually to do that, but for sure the auditor will like that. Team counting would be I give to a team or two or three people the responsibility to count items. So I'm on the team. We're two person. There's 200 pieces to count. I'm taking 100 pieces. I'm counting 100 pieces. The other people with me is counting the other side of the box or the other side of the bin, and we're just adding our two results. And this is the count we're going to include in SAP. So this is team counting. So everybody has his own part to count, and we're putting it all together. And there's individual counting plus team counting. So that means two bodies could count the same item. You compare the value, and this is compared to a team that is doing the same thing. Now I don't know in what planet SAP is living in with that one, but we don't have a lot of customers that have the staff to do the individual counting plus the team counting. But anyways, it's in SAP, and it's one of the third way to use multiple counter. Okay, so let's go back now. Let's go back to SAP.
Yeah, by the way, everybody, just before Harold starts, his SAP version, he's on version 10 right now, but it's the same
Yep.
thing as you guys. If you're on version 9, 9.2, 9.3, whatever, it's just the skin that's different. So just want to specify that.
Yeah, I'm actually running the Fiori cockpit, which is included in SAP 9.3 and over. I'm actually running SAP 10.0, the newest version. And one of the best practice we try to, like I told you before, we try to implement, it's to balance your general ledger with your inventory reports, audit inventory audit report. So the audit report will give you the value, an addition of the financial value of your inventory as of the date you are asking it. So actually, how do we control it? We can compare them. We can compare them on screen. But what I did actually, I did a small Excel spreadsheet, which is pretty simple, and we can give you this example if you want. And it's quite easy. You just key in what your both report will give you. So the general ledger report, what's the value of your inventory account, and your inventory control account value, and you compare them. And obviously, it needs to be no difference all the way, because this is the objective. Your subsidiary should always write in financial transaction with a balance. So I mean, you're never supposed to be out of balance what's in your inventory and what's showing in your general ledger. So if I go here and I'm just trying to see my value of inventory control, I'm going to start with the general ledger. General ledger as of 31st of January 2018. I mean 2018 just because I have more value, more numbers. So looking at my inventory control account, I'm looking at the inventory of finished good. Actually, how can I just, we recommend you to balance account by account. So if you have 5 or 4 inventory control account, please just do it one by one. It's easier to control, because if you mix them up, it might be a nightmare to find an error somehow. So how do we make sure that your inventory audit report is just extracting the transaction that should have been, or the transaction and the value that should have been posted to inventory finished good? Well, you can just ask to the audit report from any starting date or no starting date up to the 31st of January 2018, like the general ledger, like I asked the general ledger. One thing is important, just make sure you're on the posting date. Don't use the system date, because system date is not the good date. The posting date is what's been posted, the date it has been posted to the general ledger. So obviously, if you want to balance your inventory GL value and your GL account, you must use the posting date. Item group, you take everything, and this is where you control your GL account. You want to double check. So your GL account here with the little dot, you just make sure you don't use the full X. You just make sure you X the GL account you're trying to control here, which is actually my inventory finished good, which is one. This is it. So this is the one I want to control, and just make sure you click all your warehouse, because any warehouse, well, some more than one warehouse could be attached to this GL account. So, and the other thing which is important, you just make sure you click the display open balance for items/accounts with no transaction. So there might be no transaction on a specific item, but there might be an opening balance. So if you don't click it, you will be automatically out of balance, because we are actually looking to balance a balance sheet account, which is a cumulative, which is always a cumulative amount. So when I'm ready, I'm just go run. Could take several moments, several minutes. Let's go. And here's my report. The value is 4,967,719 cents, which is the same thing here. So I'm going to just go in my spreadsheet, put for the end of January, 4,967,719. 4,967,000. Same thing for my inventory. 4,967,719. Ta-da! I'm not out of balance. So I'm gonna avoid you to follow me for doing all the other months. So I just did a spreadsheet that has all the numbers. It's not exactly the same number. I did it 2 days ago and I had some transaction, but the main issue is to show what's in the GL value versus what's in the inventory accounting value. So you can see that there's a problem starting in February. So I just did I just put between my month, my weeks between my month to just help me to control when does the mistake or when does the error happen, when does the unbalanced amount happen. So I just start because my report can be asked at any date. It's not period. It's not period controlled. It's controlled by date. So I can ask for the 02 for the 7th of February 2018 or 2019, whatever. So you understand that I can ask for week by week. So when I did that, month by month, week by week, I just control my value, everything was okay. So I found out that it's the last week of February that my unbalanced amount just happened. So it's going to be helping me. I know it's between the 22nd and the 28th of February. So going into my GL account or GL balance sheet, I can drill on my inventory control account, drill on it, and just ask for this date, which would be February the 28th end date, and February 21st, February 2018, 21st. And we see that there's some AR invoice, which usually are pretty well controlled, that are doing their own journal entry in the inventory control account. It's controlled by a regular operation, but I can see here that my $148.38, which is my unbalanced value, comes from a journal entry, and it shouldn't be done by a journal entry. No journal entry should be done under and control account by the GL directly, because doing that, you understand that if I'm doing a journal entry in the general ledger control account, it's not going to do any transaction in my inventory subsidiary account. So this is where I got out of balance. How do I control that? Actually, I could go back here, look at my inventory control account, and how do I make sure nobody else will do another journal entry? Well, there's a small boxes that says block manual posting, and this is what you must do for your control account. I know usually inventory control, even if it's control account, you can do journal entry into it. So you better just click this box and you will have no more problem. You will have no more person being able to do journal entry directly into inventory control account. It should avoid in the future what we're actually showing now. Okay, so just looking at my file, I just did another error lower here to show you that because I go week by week, I could find out now going week by week, but that this variation, this error is actually coming from the last week of, well, the third week of June, which is between the 14th and the 21st of June. Actually, if I would have done my job month by month, I would suggest when I found the error in March to just correct it right now. So I would not have seen this unbalanced amount in April, in May, and in June. It's adding up to my actual. Well, it's subtracting because it's on the other on the other way, on the other side, but it subtracts from my unbalanced amount. This is why I show them monthly difference, because I know that I'm looking for 22,500 and not for $22,351.62. But if I would have correct my unbalanced issue in February, I would have seen my difference just showing up in my month of June as 22,500. So same kind of scenario. I just go there and look at my unbalanced amount, but now I can just look at the 21st of June 2018 and 14th of June 2018. And there you go. There's only one transaction, and this is my transaction that I did to voluntary journal entry to screw inventory balance. There's a bad guy doing that. So that's it. With this, when we're talking about best practice with this, you should always keep in mind, or you should always month by month looking at your balance sheet compared to your inventory evaluation or debt report. So if you keep this balance, you will definitively be more easy to do what we call inventory control and inventory account.
So
Okay.
Harold, so your Excel sheet is really time consuming for someone that's going to have to go over many multiple months to try and find an error. If anybody needs an example of this spreadsheet, you can ask me for it. I've got it. If it could
Yeah.
be helpful to somebody.
Yeah, we can give you a copy of that. It's a simple spreadsheet, but actually, just to watch out with my sheet. Actually, I put the date format because if you just put 2020, it's not gonna work. So you need to put 2000. You need to put 2020-01-01, which is starting, and the dates will adjust itself. Now you can see the other thing you need to watch is for the bisextile year, like this 2020. You see March is March 30, so you need to just change the value here to 29, and now you're going to be at month end. So there's two things you need to watch. You need to watch for bisextile year. That's not really a big problem actually, because the dates doesn't really need to be at the end of the month. I mean, it just a way to, all the dates will adjust it themselves by changing the data up at the top of the at the top of this file. So it's a simple Excel spreadsheet, but that could help a lot to control your GL versus your inventory.
It's time saving.
Yeah. Okay. Now, when we talk about inventory transaction, inventory counting transaction, well, first of all, you need to, the first thing you need to do is to prepare your sheet. Actually, preparing your sheet, I mean, you might have multiple warehouse. You must have multiple bin. So you need to prepare your sheet. And before preparing your sheet, one of the things you need to do is to make sure there's no open inventory counting sheet, because if there's an open inventory count sheet, all the item on this sheet will not be able, you won't be able to put them on the new sheet, because SAP actually is controlling what's already been put on counting sheet to make sure nobody will try to count 2 times the same item. So if you already issue open sheet, you may just make sure to close them before you issue new sheet. So how do I check that? You make a research with a star, with a star and with a status open. So if I'm looking at this, oh, I have already 5 open sheet, and well, for my demo actually, for my webinar, it's normal because I prepared them in advance. But normally, if I'm the end of this month, if my month is ending the 25th tonight, and I want to prepare my sheet, I'm gonna make sure all the other sheet of last month or all the other sheet of somebody could have prepared sheet in the middle of the month for no reason. I just want to make sure everything is closed, so I can just open it and close it without counting, it doesn't matter. It needs to be closed to make sure all my items are available to put on new sheet for my inventory control account counting. So actually, for my webinar, I already prepared some sheets. So let me cancel that. And let me just find sheet number 9. Okay, this is a simple sheet with 5 items. I'm agree with you, it's easy. So how do I add some items? So there's plenty of way to select items. So you can select item per item number, or you can select item per preferred vendor. It's pretty rare, actually. It doesn't make really sense to me. But you can select them by item group, and you can even select them by bin location. So if you're doing inventory control sheet by specific bin or zone location, and you know that these bin are in a specific zone at the back of the warehouse, so you're gonna select from this bin to the other bin, and this will issue an inventory counting sheet for this section of your warehouse, no matter the number, the item that is included into that. I mean, attached, it doesn't, it's not gonna follow the item number. You understand me? It's gonna follow the bin number. So it's gonna group them by bin number. And actually, I can choose my warehouse that I want to prepare my sheet for. Usually, you're gonna go by specific warehouse. You're not gonna use all the warehouse altogether, unless your warehouse is actually split in small warehouse inside the warehouse. That makes more sense. But usually, if it's physical warehouse at different address, you're gonna issue a counting sheet per warehouse. And when you're ready, you just go OK, and it's gonna upload all the item. I won't do the exercise for now because I want to show you how to make how to input the result after counting. The issue is not to prepare the sheet. You know how to prepare the sheet. And what I'm going to show you after that is what is the difference in the layout of the sheet when you use a single counter, multiple counter, and when you use the team counting. So we're gonna use for this example the single counter. It's the simplest one, and it's the easiest one, and actually it's also the more, I would say, the more affordable one for you guys, because you don't have, I don't think you have lots of customers have, like I said, lots of people waiting for doing some inventory control account or inventory count 2 times on the same item. So that's what I'm talking about, multiple counters. So I can just, first thing I need to do, first thing you need to make sure you put the count date, not really the today's date. Actually, we're the 25th, you put the 25th, but actually if I'm doing my counting, if I did my month end or my counting the 19, I would put the 19 or the 18, I would put the date we make the month end or the counting for real. And one thing it's important is, as soon as I'm issuing a counting sheet, I should just double click on freeze and freeze these items. So this will avoid anybody to make some transaction after it. Normally, when you do inventory count, you don't have operation that's are running in the same time. So maybe I can do partial counting with that. Maybe I can, like I said, use a section of the warehouse and do the counting of a section of this warehouse, but I should freeze anyways the item, or when I do the spreadsheet, the accounting sheet. And so I can have people, I can just, when I prepare my sheet, I can just, okay, print the paper, like for my buddies to go and count it. And I have 2 choice here, hide in warehouse quantity on count date, which is what I recommended, because you don't show to your people what you have in inventory on the sheet, because some people might say, okay, 200, yeah, it looks like 200, let's put 200. So if you want them to count it, just don't put the number in advance. So you can show in-house quantity, but just use the hide in-house quantity. So it's this is going to show you a simple crystal report counting sheet, which could be modified, as you know, because it's an actual crystal report that we can do some modification out of it. And if you want, you can either just copy table, and you could even put it on an Excel spreadsheet, because SAP has this capacity to copy paste. So you can do that and just get rid of the column you don't need. Actually, what you need is warehouse. What you need to bring it back is warehouse and quantity count. And I'll show you another way to put it. If you use a spreadsheet, you could have people just going in the warehouse with the paper, take the number, go back to the office, and just put the number in a simple spreadsheet like that. What would it help you to? You could now import item from a spreadsheet, and a spreadsheet that you just transfer in text file. So actually, I could just show you an example. I will just pick up my spreadsheet of my counting, my count. My person just did the count, just put it in a spreadsheet. But this spreadsheet has item code, warehouse code, quantity, but no serial number. I'm gonna get rid of the serial number. When I'm ready, I'm doing import. There you go. My quantity as counted has been just uploaded into the system. And as you can see, SAP has automatically put in the checkbox that this is counted. Why is it in red? This is in red because the quantity counted doesn't balance with what I actually have into inventory. So actually, I have a variance of 1,000 here. I have a variance of 1,200 here because of my unit of measure first, and because probably my person just count in boxes, in pack, and my inventory is actually in units. So probably somebody did a mistake just counting the box, or just counting the box, and trying to and not counting the pack in the box. So this is in red, but it is in red for one reason too. I'm going to show you where. Oh, tiger. There's some place in the system, in document setting in the system, inventory count, I can decide when I want this line to be highlighted. Actually, I'm way over 5%, but I'm sure actually if I just want the system to just point out or mark me when my inventory my count is over 5%, less or over or less 5% of the actual count. So this is a setup in the document. I'll show you. And if I'm using multiple counter, I just put 0 for my multi. If I have two bodies that are counting the same item in multiple unique counter, I just want a system to flag me if these people has a small discrepancy. If even if they have only 1 unit of difference, because I have 0% tolerance. So I want to see if they are not agree on the amount. I want to see the line in red. But if my team is counting and my team has a difference of 5% and less, I don't want to see, well, over 5%, I want to have a red line, but under 5%, it's okay. It is my level of tolerance. So this is a setup in the system. Actually, it's quite simple to set up, and it's gonna give you these warning by the colors. So actually, because I have pack of 6, I should have come to. I shouldn't be overbalanced. And the other thing too is if I'm actually updating my account sheet, I can either just switch it to accounting. Actually, at this point, there's no accounting value. There's nothing done in the system except that We did the accounting sheet, we put the number in, and we're normally ready to go to next step, which is inventory posting. So inventory posting, I can copy to inventory posting. It's exactly the same like if you do an order entry, copy to an invoice. So you can go from the original document to the final to the next step document, or I can copy it to inventory posting. If I'm doing this, the system will automatically copy the 2 item. Why is he copying only 2 item? He's copying the 2 item that has a difference on the counting, because if I have 2 items, well, the 3 other items have exactly the same count as I have into inventory. I don't have any posting. I don't have any transaction to do. And what's nice with this, actually, for who doesn't, well, for who doesn't that never did that, you can always check what will be the issue in your journal entry. So this is going to be the journal entry that's going to be put in the system if you post it. Actually, I just moved from the accounting sheet to the posting sheet, but it's not post yet. So I can always come back and make some correction or some adjustments. So actually, the system says, well, my friend, you have 440 in inventory in your system, and somebody or people just count 2,640 items. So there must be an issue. Actually, we know the issue. It's just that the people just count the box of 6 instead of counting 6 times per box, and well, giving me the value. The value per in unit. So it's probably a situation where I would say to my people, just go back and make sure there's 200 item and not 200 pack. So at this step, there's 2 things I want to add up to is obviously when you go into an item, you'll see that there's unit of measure for purchasing, there's unit of measure for sales, there's unit of measure for inventory, but there's also unit of measure into the account. There's inventory accounting unit of measure, and this is where we had the issue here. To be faster, even if I'm selling per unit, I'd like my people to count per 6 pack because it's easier and faster. So you have the choice. And if you didn't use this feature, I would say just make sure you put the inventory counting unit of measure, which is the fastest for you. And it's a real nice feature if you use it properly, if you can use it. Obviously, in some case you cannot use that, or in some case your counting unit of measure is the same as the stocking unit of measure. Okay, and if we just have a look at the other spreadsheet, the other accounting sheet, the other possibilities. One counter. Here we have team counter. So a team counter would say, I have an example here. A team counter, you have another tab that is coming up for team counting. So the team counting says, I have the addition of Cora and Bill that is making my 197. So Cora has content 112 and Bill has content 85 of the same unit in the same bin, I would say. And both of them came up to the conclusion that there's 197 item instead of 200. So my difference is 3. And actually, when I'm going to post it, I'm going to post it as a team counted quantity and not individual people that are having a difference between their 2 count, because they didn't count the same thing. They count each side of the box or each side of the bin. So they came to this conclusion. So what could be the other way? Sorry. What could be the other way of doing counting? I can have I don't have any more of my, yeah, 2 counter, 2 counter, 2 individual counter, but it's already posted, I think. It's open. Okay, here I have my 2 counters, so that's easy. I have manager that is a counter and Robert that is a counter. And actually it's in red, not because I'm over 5%, just because, like I said, Robert and uh, and the manager has not the same count. So if I put 261, I'm going to be it's going to come back to not highlight the difference, because even if there's a difference of 4 between our people, there's it's less than 5%. So this is why it's not in red. So this is the two counters and no team. So there's two body that are counting, and actually when I want to post it, you're gonna see the difference. When I want to post it, it's gonna tell me, okay, do you want to post item with no counter difference? It will post the first one. You want to use you want to post what's manager as content or what's Robert Dorval as content. So you decide which one is the best one. So maybe if they didn't agree that, like if they didn't agree on the second and the third item, well, the third item they agree, and but they are not the same as the item value. But anyways, if they did not agree on some item, maybe you're gonna have them just come back, or you're gonna say, okay, Robert doesn't know how to count, so I'm gonna use manager account. So this is the way you can post it. And like all the document of SAP, you can go the other way around. So you can go into inventory posting and just copy from. So copy from will do exactly like you can do with marketing documents. So instead of having an order copy to an inventory to a delivery, you can go into the RSA and just ask the system, I want to deliver all these order all together in one single delivery item. So you can do the same with posting sheets. So you can just say, just take all the multiple counter sheet and do a single posting sheet. I would not necessarily recommend it. I would say one counting sheet should make one posting sheet. This is always more easy to check or to balance if you have one-to-one relations. After that, well, I would presume that you would issue the same report as I did. On my side, actually, I know oh shit, I'm 5 minutes over. Sorry, Tracy. I'm
It's
slower in
okay.
English.
No,
I'm,
Harold.
excuse my English, people. I'm slower in English, but anyways. So after doing
It's all
that,
right.
normally your inventory control, your inventory account, your inventory counting is done. Your inventory posting is done. You should issue the two reports, like the general ledger control account and the audit report, and just make sure everything is still balanced. But it should balance. It must balance, because when you use the inventory transaction, it's always writing to the GL account that is being set in the system. You won't make your general ledger unbalanced if you always use inventory control transactions.
Well, Harold, I do have a few questions in the chat box.
Yep.
I don't know if you had anything else to show us, but I'd go over a
No.
few of the
Go.
questions or
Go.
comments that I had.
Go.
Okay, so I had Maggie that just pointed out that another helpful tool to find the errors is to run the GL report from all docs except accounts receivable and accounts payable documents. I gather that Maggie was probably when we were talking about the Excel spreadsheet where we update it almost every week just to keep
Mm-hmm.
track of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so anyway, that was more of a comment. She already
Yeah.
sent
Yeah.
it to everybody, but in case nobody received I don't know if you want to show it, if you can show that to people, just in case they didn't see it. And I've got a few other comments afterwards as well.
Yeah. Go for the other comments, because I
Okay.
just want to make
Yeah.
sure
Okay.
we're on the
So
same
the
page
other
with this
comment,
one.
well, I had Melina that had a question, but she found the answer. However, I do find it interesting what her question was, just in case some were not following the chat box. So Melina had a question about the inventory audit report. She
Yep.
said, some of my warehouses are in the US, so the values come up in US dollar. SAP totals US dollar and Canadian dollar values at the bottom of the inventory audit report, which does not make sense. Is there an option somewhere that will allow conversion of US dollar amount into Canadian dollar before they're totaled. She found the answer to that, but I'm just bringing this up in case somebody else may have had the same question, because it could be pretty standard, you know.
Hmm.
So did you understand the question?
Yeah, actually, the audit report. Well, she found the answer, but could she give us the answer?
Yeah,
Because
Melina, would you like to unmute yourself and
I don't have this.
can?
I don't have this configuration here,
You don't have it?
multi-currency.
Okay.
No, this is why I won't be able to show exactly. So she will probably have in the bottom of this report the U.S. value and the Canadian dollar value, because actually I'm all in Canadian dollar.
Yeah, but she said that she found
Hmm.
she said, I withdraw my question. I just found it, but that really would be interesting, Melina, if you could share that, because there's certainly other people that may be asking themselves the same question.
Lots of time people will attach it to another GL account, which is going to be GL inventory for a US value, or inventory for a US company or US warehouse. I would say we would recommend maybe to split it, to put it in another account, which would be easier when you balance it, to just select this one. I would say that would be my suggestion. I don't know if it makes
Okay.
sense to you.
But she
Anyways,
found the answer, so,
yeah,
but I
okay,
was just
go.
bringing it up in case somebody
Yep.
else. All right, so Melina didn't. So look, I've got another question from Nick, who says, Harold, what do you find are some good general practices to improve communication between operations and finance when it comes to inventory? Any ideas regarding when warehouses are virtual?
Warehouse virtual, you mean warehouse warehouse in a warehouse? That's probably what it means by virtual.
Mm,
We usually call it a virtual warehouse.
Nick, could I unmute you so that you could maybe address the, here you go. Unmute. No, I can't. He muted himself. Nick, could you unmute yourself and maybe specify for
There
her?
it is.
Yeah, hi Harold.
Oh, you
Yeah,
got it?
Yep.
exactly. We restore inventory here at MV Global through partners. So we actually don't have a warehouse operation, but we have like our warehouse is in SAP, kind of tracking the inventory in various locations in the United States.
Okay. And your question was about how do you make the best practice for communication between operation and finance?
Yeah, just maybe drawing upon your experience that you may have in the industry, because operations in warehousing or just operations departments and finance can sometimes be good. Sometimes they require some work. I'm wondering if you have any general experience from your work career that might be of interest.
Well, actually, there's no magic recipe unless they must understand the impact of making any type of operation on the accounting control finance side. I mean, that obviously lots of people in the operation say, well, no matter they will let's get rid of the we need to get this stock out and this stock in. They'll balance it after. We don't care. So it's always the same thing. I would say that we have the same issue with the salesperson and operation person. Salesperson sells sometimes anything they want to sell. They don't take care of the operation. Operation must fill out what the salesperson are trying to are actually selling. This is the way they usually do. I don't have any magic recipe for that. I would say to sensibiliser eux autres, to just when you know what you're doing, the impact of what you're doing on somebody else. Sometimes you might be a little more gentle or a little more easy on what you're actually doing. That's the only way I can answer your question right now.
Okay, he says it sounds good. No, you're right, Harold. Sales and operations are two totally
Same thing.
different
Same thing.
departments, and I think everybody lives that. That's
Go sell, but you need to deliver. You need to deliver what you sell. Oh, no way, it doesn't matter.
that's it. Are there any other questions for Harold?
There is 7 question in the chat.
Yeah, well, we went over them. I had Nick
Oh,
wanted a
okay.
copy of the Excel sheet. There was Maggie that had her comment for everybody on another helpful tool. Melina had the question about the U.S. Canadian amounts, and
Yeah.
then we had Nick. So if anybody else has any questions, feel free. Um, this is recorded. Harold, did you have anything else to add to this?
No, not really.
Not really. So look, Pat.
Well, the only thing we can add, forgot about was if some of you have Produmex WMS,
Oh, that's
uh,
right.
it's a total different history. Actually,
Warehouse management with
yeah,
scanners is not done the same way as what we're just told here.
actually, the good thing is that everything you do with the warehouse with Produmex WMS with the scanners and inventory counting with scanners, it's a lot easier for sure. But WMS has his own way of counting, own way of doing the counting. But the good thing is that everything that's going to be do with Produmex WMS is going to be pushed into SAP like we did manually in the inventory counting sheet. So the result will be the same, but the operation will be probably a lot more easier and faster because you're gonna have some wireless tools that can count, scan the barcode, scan the bin location, and put the amount. So it's gonna be no paper. It's paperless. So this is
Yeah,
probably faster and easier. But in the overall, the finish result will be in ACP like we did all together.
exactly. And to bring that out, you're talking about WMS and scanners, but I have Fatty that's asking, is it possible to do an inventory count in a phone application and then upload it to SAP? So if there was one that existed, would that be related to a WMS system, or could she do that with SAP without going into a warehouse management system with scanners?
I would say it needs to go with the WMS system. It's
Because
gonna
I know,
be
because Fatty, I know that there's light warehouse management systems which do have applications that can be used on the phone, but it won't come from SAP. It will come from these applications
mm,
that are extended add-ons. Robert once showed us that in with WMS,
yeah,
with Project Scan, basically that you
yeah,
can use your phone to do that. That would be
mm,
with Project Scan.
yeah.
So if
But you
you
will
need any
need.
information, you could send me an email and I'll dispatch your question to the sales team that takes care of that. So she said here we tested one and it did not work. Would you recommend a specific one? Look, I don't know which one you used. The best thing, Fatty, send me an email, tracy@forgestic.com, with your question, and I'll dispatch it to the sales team, especially Robert's our specialist with warehouse management systems and scanners. So he'd be the best one that could really recommend something to you if any apps existed. So, well, thank you, everybody. And Harold, thanks. That was really interesting. If anybody wants a copy of this, it's going to be on the Forgestic YouTube page in a few days so that you could share it with your colleagues if needed. And if you have questions, do reach out. There are emails. So thank you very much, Harold, and
All
have a
right.
good
Thank you,
weekend,
everybody.
everybody. Okay, bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.